Hello and welcome to another episode of SqEngineering Engineering. I'm Spiritis and we are hopefully just jumping back into the Supra project. One of the reasons for that is this. I now have my bending tool for the aluminum pipes that I will be using for some stretches of the oil cooling system. And I think I need to remove the front bumper in order to reach everything properly. So that the video where I just showed you how to do it might be turning into an actual video. So I would get changed and get started. So before we can do any bending of this pipe, we need to straighten it. For the smaller dimension, I have two of these. Won't fit in this. So I would see if I can space it out a bit and then use this. Otherwise I need to find another way of straightening this or something. So I will try a few things and then we will see. So you just saw me straightening out the pipe a little bit by hand, and it seems to be working quite well. And then I moved over to the front of my Supra and removed the hose that I want to replace. The problem is I've sort of built in those hoses into the AC setup, so I couldn't, there wasn't enough room to pull out the connector with the hose, so I cut it. Let's have a look at that. So here's that hose, and we have this 45-degree bend maybe, which will be replaced by this straight fitting, and quite shortly after this fitting the bend will need to start, and then we have another straight fitting on the other side. So in order to accomplish this, I will I think I need about 10 or even 15 centimeter longer pipe than this, just so I have something to leverage on when I'm bending the pipe. So yeah, that's next. Cutting a piece of pipe that can replace this. So I changed my mind a little bit. I was able to make some marks on the pipe quite easy, and yeah, that doesn't really feel good. So I went back to the hose route. So here I am in the middle of assembling this AN10 hose. This time I'm going with nylon braided, and instead of a straight and a 45, there will be a 45 and a 30 degree. And due to the space that this hose needs to go through, I will need to assemble one end in place. So let's do that. The new hose is in place, as you can see, and also from this side. So the cooler sits in a much better way now than before, so that's a plus. But we still have that bracket down there, the aluminum piece you see in the middle of the picture, to adjust. Currently it's on the wrong side of that mount, so I will make one that's longer. And yes, it was a bit tricky and tough to install the hose ends, but I did it. So the funny thing is that initially I wanted to replace the stainless braided hose with my nylon braided hose, basically because it's less abrasive, it's more flexible. So, but then I got that bright idea to install some aluminum piping. But I've learned now that I can't treat it like thin stainless steel pipes. I can't treat it as thicker or bigger aluminum pipes like intercooler pipes and so on. And I also learned that there is a tab on the mount of the AC condenser that's quite sharp, and that's what made the marks on that aluminum pipe. So I took just a plier and bent it out of the way. So basically I have extended the theoretical lifespan of these hoses. So that's good anyway. And I would still use the aluminum pipes for here. You can't see much of it, but underneath here we have these stainless braided lines. So like I said before, I will have aluminum pipes going out to here, and then AN hoses the last distance. So yeah, and also something else, these aluminum pipes, if you are careful, you can straighten them by hand. They won't be perfectly straight, but unless you're running it along the entire length of the car floor, you don't really need that much straight pipe. And for the smaller distances, I think you can manage to do it by hand. There are tools, the bigger version of the ones that I showed you earlier, that works with these. And the reason why I didn't continue on that path was because it required too much work for it to be worth it, since I could straighten it good enough by hand. So yeah, basically we are back where we started. I still need to make that lower bracket, and I need to adjust the upper brackets, but at least the engine oil cooler is connected. And for the power steering lines, I need to make some bends, and the idea is to get the pipes in here, because then I can get them in underneath the air filter and also come out in an area where I can switch over to AN hose. So that should work fine. So even though we have taken a few steps forward and a lot of steps backward, I think we overall have achieved at least a few steps forward. And yeah, we also need to remember that this is a hobby. It's something that we do for fun. So it will still be worth it in the end, and it doesn't really matter that it takes more time. I mean, if I hadn't done this rework during this time, I would have done something else to the car. So in the end, I'm working on my car, and then it's just the tasks that get extended even more. And another thing is, when I sort of built my Supra initially, I worked on it during the winter, and then when they had swept up all the sand and so on from the roads, I would start driving my Supra and use it as a daily driver. Considering the apartment where I live, I can't really park it there, so I can't really use it as a daily driver anymore. The risk is too high. If we were only living at the summer house or like that, then it would be possible to use it more as a daily, but well, no, sorry, not really, because I would still need to consider all the people at work who doesn't really respect other people's vehicles. So there's a risk there, and then at all the stores, etc. So yeah, but anyway, what sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I worked on it during the winters, drove it during the spring, summer, fall, and the amount of work that I had to put in was just to make it drivable. And that's why I have a lot of semi-permanent solutions. But now when I'm older and the situation have changed regarding parking possibilities and so on, and also me making iterations of previous work done by me, I want to improve. So it's okay if things take a bit longer than intended and so on. This is my forever project, so it's cool. And also, even if I did the iteration work faster, that would only mean that the next iteration would be coming up more quickly. But if I now take my time, then there will be a bit more time in between, I think, but you never know. So I think this will be it for this episode. I don't really have more time to work on the Supra this week, and also we are up to date, so I need to do more work in order to have more content. So hopefully I will manage to make another episode next week. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.